Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the North Anna and Surry Annual Assessment Meeting. This is scheduled to go from 3 to 4 p.m. today. If you're having trouble using audio, you can dial in using the phone number 301-415-0333, passcode 3922350#. And you can call in using the phone or using the Skype app. I think if we're ready to get started, Phil. There we go. We can start with North Anna. We're going to start with North Anna and then move to Surry. So I am the senior resident at North Anna Power Station for the NRC, so I'll be giving the brief for North Anna. Our agenda today, introductions for us, our strategic plan goals, our annual assessment summary, our inspection plans for 2020, the COVID-19 response and how we're dealing with that, and then question and answer. So our resident office personnel, we have me, Maggie Tobin, the senior resident inspector. We also have Vance Petrella, who is our acting resident inspector right now, and Cindy Stetson, who is our office assistant. In the region, we have Stuart Bailey as branch chief, Phil Niebaum as the senior project engineer, Jeffrey Hammond as a senior project engineer, and Donna Jackson as project engineer. So the NRC's resident inspectors. This is a little slide that talks about what we do every day and how we do it. It's got a lot of really good information about really what it is we do on a day-to-day basis. But the one that I'll draw your attention to is number 7. Which is the very last one that says, resident inspectors play a very important role for the NRC. They are the agency's on-the-ground eyes and ears, which is ultimately what we're really doing. We work and live in the communities around the plants, and we're as invested as everyone else in the community to make sure that these plants stay safe. So here we just have some pictures of resident inspectors doing some inspections. None of these are actually North Anna, but some good pictures of just some flavor of pipes and valves, and looks like one great big old diesel in there. Our NRC strategic plan goals: safety. We ensure adequate protection of the public health and safety and the environment. And security is to ensure adequate protection of the secure use and management of radioactive materials. And that's the be-all and end-all of what we do with those strategic plan goals right there. So our annual assessment summary for North Anna is that Dominion and North Anna operate the plant safely and in a manner that preserves the public health and safety and protected the environment. North Anna was in the licensee response column of the NRC's ROP Action Matrix for 2019, which is the lowest level of inspection that we do based on performance. So for 2019, we had approximately 5,500 hours of inspection and related activities. That equates to 2 resident inspectors on site, me and Vance. We group our inspections into 4 quarters per year, and we do daily plant walk-downs through the plant, in and out every day. And then we've had 3 major team inspections. Those are traveling inspectors with specific expertise in a particular field. They come in and do specific looks and deep dives into equipment. And that was our design basis assurance inspection, our emergency preparedness program and inspection, and our problem identification and resolution inspections. We operate on a 3-year schedule for those inspections, so those are the ones for 2019 that we did, but they vary from year to year. Those aren't an every year inspection. For North Anna's PIs and findings for last year, we had all green performance indicators and 3 green or severity level 4 inspection findings, which represent findings of very low safety significance. The inspection findings that we had for North Anna this year are these 3 findings here. If you have questions on the findings, there's detailed write-ups in the inspection reports that we publish for each one. And so if you go on to the NRC website, you can get detailed information on each one, what went wrong, and what was being done to fix it. So this page here is just a description of significance thresholds, and we're talking about performance indicators and inspection findings, basically increasing significance from green to red. There's green, white, yellow, red, and at each level that you step up, it requires additional NRC oversight. And as we saw before, North Anna is in the green or lowest safety significance for all issues, and all of their performance indicators are green, indicating that no additional NRC oversight was required on site. The NRC plans to baseline inspections for North Anna for the remainder of 2020. Right now, this includes the cybersecurity inspection, an emergency preparedness exercise, and an evaluation of changes, tests, and experiments. Of course, the COVID-19 and the pandemic that's ongoing means that the dates for these things may move, but we're still planning on getting these inspections done this year. So the NRC response to COVID-19. We have some mission-critical functions that we're continuing to maintain here. We continue to monitor plant activities through inspections and oversight. We maintain emergency response capabilities with the regional IRCs and headquarters. And we're risk-informing our ISO inspections through the residents and regional inspections. So the residents are still going on site and still monitoring plant activities on a risk-informed basis to make sure that we're covering everything that we need to cover. Additional actions, the NRC has established a COVID-19 task force. When on site, residents are using social distancing as much as possible. We have a dedicated continuity of operations plan available, and we're working on coordinating actions with industry on best practices to minimize impacts. If you'd like to get in touch with us at the NRC, we have a website, www.nrc.gov. For questions or information, you can contact opa2.resource@nrc.gov or phone number 404-997-4417. We have an allegations hotline. We have 1-800-695-7403. And if you have questions on employment, that's 301-415-7400 or www.usajobs.gov. NRC social media. I won't read all of these through. Sorry, folks on the phone, but you can get a hold of all of these by searching and finding this slideshow. So we do have a Twitter, a Facebook, a YouTube, a Flickr, a LinkedIn, and a Gov delivery that we post on that you can use to stay connected to the NRC and what we're doing. All right, so that ends the presentation for North Anna. We will open up the line to allow folks to ask North Anna specific questions that will be available until the Surry presentation, which we plan to have start at approximately 3:20. After the Surry presentation, we'll have time for any more questions that we were unable to address for the North Anna specific stuff. So I think you should be able to unmute yourself at this point and ask a question. If you are using Skype app and you don't want to ask the question out loud, you can type into the conversation box and one of us will read the question and then answer it.
Hello, this is Erica. Can you hear me?
Hi, Erica. Yes, I can.
Yes, I'm calling from Richmond, Virginia. Actually, I had a couple of questions. I'm obviously on the telephone line and not on the Skype version. So if I could have like a link where I can see your slides or something would be helpful. But besides that, also, is there more than one link for the three significant green findings that were for North Anna?
So,
and also, go ahead.
So for the green findings, those are available on, I think it's 2 different inspection reports. So there's and we can find and get you the information, but there's a link on the NRC website that takes you to all of our inspection reports. And so 2 different inspection reports have all 3 of those findings on them.
Okay, so how does one find those?
So we can reach out and show you how to get to them, but it's how I get to it is I search on Google NRC inspection reports and it pops up. But we can get you the official link also.
Okay, well, and then also I'm curious too, because I know North Anna 2, it's not quite at 100% power yet, because they recently had an event where they had a leak. One of the coolant pumps had a leak that there needed to be a repair, and just wondering how that went. And it says it was coolant pump A. Back in 2016, it said in one of the reports that some of the coolant pump seals had been replaced with a flow serve seal. What exactly was the problem with this leak that's in the containment that's attached to the reactor, the coolant pump? Something about something broke and what needed to be welded, and y'all were going to check the other welds as well?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what happened?
Sure. So the reactor coolant pump seals have been replaced with those flow serves, as you said. This leak was not directly related to the RCP seals. There's it's like a 1-inch plate that connects to the seal area, and that 1-inch line had a weld on it, and that weld cracked. So it was not directly related to the seal, but the NRC has a rule that you're not allowed, there's 0 leakage allowed from things like welds. So when North Anna specified that it was coming from a weld, even though the leak rate was 0.1 gallons per minute, I mean, really quite small, they still had to shut down to fix it. So they fixed it.
And so with that 0.1 gallon a minute, was that after it was shut down, or was it prior to it being shut down?
No, that was what it was before it was shut down.
Okay. And there's one thing that I wanted to mention, and I mention this probably every year I've attended these meetings. It would be really nice if the NRC would get on board to have the radioactive effluent report done before these meetings come up, because that would give the public enough time to look over these reports to see if we have any questions. But it seems that this has been stable for at least the past 10 or 11 years that I've been monitoring these reports, and there's no change. I really think it's time for the NRC to get along with having this data available. I mean, after all, we are in April, and these reports are from last year. and I don't understand why these can't be made available prior to these meetings, so that if we had questions at that time, we can ask them. So I guess that's all the input I have for right now. Thank you.
Thank you for your input, Erica. Do we have any other questions on the line? We could probably take one more before we roll into Surry.
Okay, this is Lou McCown, the Senior Resident Inspector for Surry Power Station. So once we go ahead and go to the next slide, if there are any more questions for North End, I'm sure we can cover those in the time provided afterwards. So good day, everyone. My name, like I said, is Lou McCown. I am the Senior Resident Inspector at the Surry Power Station for the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Thank you for joining us today, April 22nd, 2020, for the Surry Annual Assessment Meeting. This meeting will review Surry performance under the NRC's 2019 reactor oversight process, and we'll start by introducing the resident office staff, review the agency's strategic plan goals, discuss the results of Surry's performance in 2019, inform you of our plans for inspection for this year, discuss some of the actions taken by our agency in response to COVID-19, and offer you the opportunity to talk about any questions, comments, or concerns that you may have. Your Surry Power Station NRC team has over 75 years of nuclear experience. It is made up of the Site Resident Inspector Office and the regional staff with diverse backgrounds in construction, military, industrial, and commercial operations. Your site team is made up of Carrie Reed, our Resident Inspector, Kathy Lepard, our Administrative Assistant, and myself, Lou McCown. Your regional team is made up of Stu Bailey, our Branch Chief, Phil Niebaum and Jeffrey Hammond, our Senior Project Engineers, and Donna Jackson, our Project Engineer. Also with us today, we have Roger Hanna. He's our Region 2 Public Affairs Officer. This image, like Maggie said, is from our public website, and it shows something of our role as resident inspector. So our role is to be your informed eyes and ears. We live in your area. Our kids go to your schools. We are members of your community. We are your boots on the ground. We implement the reactor oversight process. This is a graded approach to inspection based directly upon the licensee's safety performance. Every licensee starts in the licensee response category at the baseline inspection level. If we observe that the licensee safety performance degrades, we ensure your safety by providing additional assistance to them. This comes in the form of added inspections and greater oversight. Next slide, please. When we are on site, we observe plant operations, we attend meetings, we watch maintenance in the field, and we walk down the equipment. Now, COVID-19 hasn't changed what we do, but it has had some impact on how we do it. In an effort to support social distancing similar to the station staff, we have reduced our on-site time. We still attend meetings, but now they're via Skype and WebEx. We still observe plant operations, but we're now using more remote monitoring equipment, like plant computer data and talking directly with the operators over the phone about that. We still have a few opportunities to get on site, and when we do, we make the most of it. We watch the maintenance again, and we walk down our equipment. Next slide, please. As resident inspectors, we have a special luxury in this industry. We do not answer to the power production market or the whims of stockholders, but we do have a moral responsibility to you and your friends and our neighbors. We ensure the adequate protections of public health and safety and the environment, and ensure the adequate protection of the secure use and management of radioactive materials. And like I said before, we do that through the implementation of the reactor oversight process. That is our graded approach to inspection based upon the licensee's safety performance. Next slide, please. Therefore, having assured completion of this process for last year, we can say that Dominion Energy at the Surry Power Station operated the plant safely and in a manner that preserved public health and safety and security and protected the environment. Surry was in the licensee response column for our Reactor Oversight Action Matrix, which receives our baseline inspection based upon their safety performance through the last quarter of 2019. Next slide, please. We can say that based upon our over 6,000 hours of inspection and related activities with our 2 on-site resident inspectors backed up by 3 major team inspections last year in the areas of cybersecurity, emergency preparedness, and lice renewal, which were all part of our standard baseline inspection process. Next slide. Over the course of these 6,000 plus inspection hours, we observed all green performance indicators and captured 3 very low level safety significant inspection findings. These findings are also called green or severity level 4. The 3 inspection findings were captured in detail in our integrated inspection reports, and they discussed the following items here. The failure to identify non-functional backflow from vendors and floor drains during operator rounds, failure to enter turbine building roofing degradation into station corrective action program, and the failure to align the diesel-driven Bravo emergency service water pump to its engine. Again, all of these findings were considered to be in the green or very low safety significance category and entered into the station's corrective action program on identification. This slide provides a visual depiction of our levels of safety significance for both our performance indicators and inspection findings. It runs from green, very low safety significance, to high, very high, to red, high safety significance. Again, for Surry, we captured only green issues for 2019 performance. Next slide. Surry is currently in the license response category, which received our baseline level inspection. In addition to our 2 resident inspectors, the site will receive 5 team inspections listed here. They're design-based assurance inspection, emergency preparedness program inspection, radiological protection inspections, in-service inspections, and in-service testing inspections, and the biennial problem identification and resolution team inspection. We did want to include a couple brief slides again on our COVID-19 response. As discussed earlier, our mission-critical functions in emergency response, inspection, and oversight remain in place, but we are finding new ways to perform them over the phone and via computer while making the most of our limited time on site to support social distancing, both on site and within the community. Next slide. Additionally, we have established a number of programs within our office and the resident office, within our regional headquarters staff out in Atlanta who are currently working from home and across the agency to assess the immediate impact to nuclear safety and look down the road to see what ripples will result of any changes to our programs we have taken now, as well as developing a path to resume normal operations at some time in the future. Next slide. That said, if you'd like to get in touch with us, we have a number of ways listed here. I'm not going to speak through them. They're the same that were listed for North Anna. Next slide. You can like, share, and subscribe on any of our social media links from Twitter to Facebook to YouTube. Next slide. Or you can ask us questions or give us your comments or concerns right now or at the links provided below. Remember, if you missed any of the information in this presentation, we will be posting them at the ML numbers listed on this slide, on the C Library in Adams. It's also on the meeting notice. For North Anna, that presentation will be found under ML 2009-8 Bravo 602. For Surry, that'll be found under ML number 20098 Bravo 729. Thank you for your time. We'd be happy to hear from you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them now.
Hello, this is Erica calling from Richmond again.
Oh, we're good.
Hi. I'm curious because I see that I guess it's reactor 2, possibly. I guess y'all are down to 88% power. Are you powering down for getting ready for the outages coming up?
We don't speak to the specific starter end times of their outage dates. However, they're on 18-month cycles, and it would not be surprising to find one start in the near future.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, it's online where you can see that y'all are supposed to be doing a refueling on May 2nd. So
it's up to them if they would like to start their refueling on May 2nd or not.
Okay. Well,
if they shared that publicly, then that's up to them.
Well, I mean, this time of year is obviously refueling time, and obviously with the COVID-19 going on, Are y'all going to be doing anything special to make sure that obviously hundreds of workers from the outside will depend upon the plant to be able to do this refueling and any maintenance that needs to take place? Are y'all going to be doing anything in particular for safety?
For both the resident office staff, we can say that we are establishing a process to ensure our safety. We're also observing Dominion as they've established processes to ensure their safety. Similar to any of the essential businesses in process right now, we're seeing things of the nature of wearing masks, ensuring social distancing, maintaining distances in excess of 3 to 6 feet where that can be affected. Because of the nature of the industrial setting, that doesn't always allow itself. So we observe that they've established a number of similar type of activities or supporting activities to help enhance what they can do to assure to try to prevent the spread of any potential spread of the disease.
Okay, and then the other question I have is, I was on a call maybe a week or two back where there was discussion over, some of the inspections that would normally take place during refueling and whatnot might not be taking place at this time because of the circumstances of COVID-19. Are there any special inspections that were going to take place that are now going to be postponed?
With respect to special inspections, there are a couple of planned inspections that are usually performed on site during outages. So we think of things like the radioactive protection inspection that would normally be performed on site when you have the most shots on goal, as you identify that the population swells during outages. For that aspect, we're performing a remote inspection with the subject matter expert in that area. That inspector is going to be engaging directly with the licensee on a number of specific topics. We, the resident office staff, will also be providing any direct observations or answering any questions that we can for that inspector to help support that type of inspection. That type of activity is some of the things that have changed, some of those on-site scheduled activities. However, where we have changed those, we've either identified alternative opportunities for inspection or other means essentially to capture similar or the same information, presuming that the licensee is choosing to do those activities during the outage.
Okay, so there's nothing that needs to be fixed that's going to be postponed?
They established their maintenance scope in accordance with what they feel is the appropriate scope to run for another 18 months. We don't currently have any concerns associated with the outage risk.
Okay, and can you please tell me those ML numbers again? You went pretty fast.
Sure. I'll go a little slower this time. So for North Anna, that's going to be ML or Mike Lima 2009 8 B is in Bravo 602, and then for Surry, that's going to be ML or Mike Lima 2009 8 B is in Bravo 729.
Okay, and those two, that's going to take me to the report? What is that going to take me to? I'm sorry.
That'll take you to copies of the presentation. So the slides that we're speaking to.
Okay, and as the findings, the green findings that you actually mentioned them, the North Anna inspector did not mention those. She just said to go look for them. So those also will be found under inspection for Surry if I look under the NRC?
Right. So if you go to the NRC page, we all acknowledge it's not the easiest page to navigate, but we do have the quarterly and the individual performance reports for each site. We also have listings of all the reports under each site. So for our inspection findings for the past year at Surry, there was one from the first quarter of 2019 report, so that would be 2019-001 report, and that was the one that was associated with the turbine building roofing degradation. And then the other two findings that we did 2019 report, that would be 2019-004.
And then, I'm also curious too, because y'all both started off with that they were all green. When you're saying they're all green, all the findings are green, or just the significant ones are green?
No,
green sounds good, but I know that green's not like all okay. It means like, I guess there's some findings. So I don't understand when y'all say when you started off, you said they're all green. I mean, so
right.
were you talking about just the ones that were significant, or were there more green besides the ones you're mentioning?
So any finding that we would discuss with either a color under the reactor oversight process, which would be green, white, yellow, or red, or associated with a number, a severity level number associated with the traditional enforcement process, and those are number 4 through 1. Those would be associated with something that is considered to be more than minor. So it would have an adverse impact upon some number of potential functions. When we discuss a green finding, that is our lowest level of safety significance. So it is considered a very low safety significant issue. And the safety significance of the issue rises with color. So white is more safety significant than green, yellow, and red. Similarly, with severity level, they actually go down in number. So severity level 4 would be the lowest safety significance, rising through 1. At both stations, we've only observed green findings. We have no documented observations of anything that was greater than green for the last for 2019. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. So if I understand correctly, what you're saying is you have green findings that are 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you would go to the next finding, which would be white or something, or red, or...
Oh, sorry, no. Those are two separate processes. So for traditional enforcement, that would carry a number, and that it's essentially a similar or parallel type process to the reactor oversight process, wherein we use colors. We have talked essentially about both of those processes here, both traditional enforcement and the reactor oversight process. Though all the findings that were discussed here and all the findings that were assessed for last year were under the reactor oversight process and therefore carry the color as opposed to the number.
Okay, so you're saying futuristically it's going to be different?
No, these are just they're under the traditional enforcement process. We look at events from a slightly different nature. This is somewhat different to our reactor oversight process. However, they are both things that would matriculate out of those processes effectively carry the same weight between numerically and color-wise. So you could somewhat equate a 4 to a green, a 3 to a white, and so on.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a parallel little process. They answer slightly different nuanced questions from an oversight standpoint.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Forgot to mention, if you do have any other observations, comments, concerns you'd like to provide us, you can always give us a feedback form. The information on how to do that is on the public webpage within the meeting notice. That's another opportunity to give us feedback on your observations or give us any feedback on your questions, comments, or concerns. And right now, I'm not hearing any questions. However, we will stay on the line through till 4 o'clock. If you have anything, please feel free to speak up anytime.